So for those of you curious about how much 2 officers in the military make, here we go.
Today is day 14. We're going to talk about 3 things that each of us almost bought in the first 2 weeks that we've been trying to do this. My first one, I almost bought an ice vending machine company. That's what I like to spend my money on.
In other news, I was looking the more food way, and there is a shawarma grill that I almost bought off of Amazon.
My next one is I almost bought a dog boarding facility. I actually reached out to the broker for that one, but unfortunately he didn't call me back, so that's why we don't own a dog boarding company right now.
Yeah. My other one is still food related. I almost ordered a tagine, which is like the ceramic covering that you cook the food in. Number 3.
My third one, there's a bathing suit that I really, really want to buy, but it's like $100. And that's a lot of money for a bathing suit.
My third one was a second camera for recording, actually. We're throwing around another idea of other content to record, so be on the lookout for that. But my initial instinct was like, oh, just buy a second camera. And we didn't do that, but almost did.
You almost did.
I almost did.
Yeah.
We'll show that up.
Yeah, so this one, like, we're 2 weeks in, and it's been, like, kind of an adjustment. Because, like, a lot of this stuff, like, the things that we almost impulse buy, normally we would buy. Which is the problem.
Yeah.
And so it's been, like, kind of an adjustment of, like, times that we normally, like, wouldn't restrain the impulses, and now we actually have to, and, like, try to pay attention to it. So, like, that bathing suit, didn't buy it. I did start to reach out about those businesses, but I haven't bought those yet. But I still think there might be some potential with some of those, because we are trying to figure out a way to make other income.
Leo says hi.
So I was hanging out with this friend who's in town for the weekend, and normally when friends are in town, usually we go out to eat instead of actually putting in the time and effort to cook in the kitchen. But she had also been eating out a lot since she's been in town this week, and so she wasn't really feeling up to spending money for going out to dinner. And I kind of wanted to go out because I was tired of not eating out all week. And so we ultimately decided to just eat in, but we went back to the Airbnb that her and a couple people had been staying at, and we just like foraged through the scraps that was left over in the house. And so dinner last night was a plate of a little bit of old rotisserie chicken, like scraps that we had like pulled off of the skeleton that was left in the refrigerator. And then pretzel chips and a few slices of salami and some like sandwich cheese that we still had in the fridge. And so that was like our spread for dinner. Oh, and like some salsa that we put on top of the rotisserie chicken. And so that was our dinner instead of actually eating out.
We're trying to find the balance of overcorrecting. But yeah, it's going to be a journey, and we're excited to share it with you. Hopefully you're excited to see how it all plays out. And so the long-awaited moment of how much do 2 officers in the military actually make?
Nobody actually really talks about how much money the officers make. You can Google it. So maybe we'll like put the link below of if you want to look at like the pay tables, like the actual pay tables for the military.
For different ranks.
Yeah, but both of us are captains. I've been in for 7 years. He's been in for 6 years. There's a couple different areas that military gets paid for. So you have like your regular base pay. So all in all, when you like add in, like both of us are captains that have been in for 6 or 7 years. Both of us get a housing allowance that is non-taxable, and both of us get a small food stipend. All in big picture, we make pre-tax around like $236K a year. Our take-home pay, if you take out like taxes and insurance, sits around $200K a year. I think it's like $201K when we did the math.
That's how much we're working with, and still shooting for our goal of $400,000 in 3 years. We're well on our way. When we're looking at our budget, we kind of break it out across 10 categories. We got basically 4 essentials, necessities of groceries, gas, bills, and incidentals. And then we have the extra superfluous stuff, like some subscriptions, like gym memberships, Spotify, stuff like that. We also have stuff category of just
buying stuff. Just the stuff.
And then we have restaurants and entertainment. So if like we're going to eat out, watch a movie.
Yeah, that's an area that we
golfing.
like struggle with is keeping down the food costs, like this restaurant entertainment, because like if we're just feeling lazy after work one day, we're like, we don't want to cook, and then we just go out to eat. But that like adds up, and it's just because we're just lazy on the weekends and don't meal prep.
Laziness.
Yeah.
And then the last category is at least spending category is gonna be travel.
Yeah.
And we find out because we are in the military, our family's separated, our friends are all over. We find ourselves traveling more frequently than we would normally. Than we would actually think we would. For those of you keeping track at home, that's only 8. The other 2 is investments and savings. That's kind of how we broke it out there. But so like investments, like our both of our Roths or investment accounts, like in the stock market or stuff like that. But that's kind of how we'll be tracking it, and we'll be breaking those out a bit more in future videos of kind of our biggest culprits in each of those areas and how we're looking at cutting those back.
Yeah. And compare it to last month, like pre-budget. Yeah. So it'll be pretty cool at the end of this month, now that we're actually really paying attention to this stuff, and like being able to compare, okay, like July, we didn't do any actual like budgeting or like really close tracking. We were just spending the way we would normally spend. And so being able to compare that to last month to this month, I'm actually super interested in seeing how it turns out.
Yeah. Let us know which category you're most excited to hear about, or which one you spend the most money in, because...
Are you the same as us and you spend all your money on food? Or travel?
Or stuff.
Or stuff.
You just buy stuff.
Yeah.